from the observation of my own behavior and tendencies and ways of going on about life, I have realized that I lack patience. And I looked around me and I looked at other humans, humans that I know, close people to me, and it became very obvious to me that humans in general lack patience. Hence the saying, patience is a virtue, because patience is a virtue. And it is not a virtue that comes easy to humans. It really is a virtue that requires a great deal of cultivation. Why be patient? Why cultivate this virtue? I always like to know the why, because when I know the why, it becomes infinitely more easy for me to cultivate that virtue. If I don't know the why, then I will always ask, why am I doing this? Like, why be patient? Why not? Why can't we just do things quickly, right? Thoughts create matter, right? Why don't we just think of something and it happens? And I thought about this question, I thought about it deeply, and I realized that the process of life in and of itself, growth, specifically growth, requires time on planet Earth at this particular time in the planet's evolutionary cycle. And because growth takes time in the literal sense, a tree takes time to grow, the snow takes time to melt, a baby takes time to mature into an adult. So you look at this pattern and you see it written all over nature, and I'm talking about the literal growth here, the physical growth of a baby, the physical growth of a tree, the physical growth of a baby, a tree, a plant, any plant, not just a tree, a fruit. If you want to get a fruit off a tree, you need the tree to grow first, and then you need the tree to cultivate that fruit for you, and then you need the fruit to be ripened by the sun and by the force of time, which is what is required in the case of patience, is to just allow time to pass. Really, that's what patience is. So when we look at life on planet Earth at this moment in its evolutionary cycle, it's not always been the case, it's not always going to be the case. It's clear that physical growth requires time, and that requires patience. And what is patience? Patience is the allowing of time to pass. Okay? So then, take that same logic of physical growth requiring time and apply that to spiritual growth, and apply that to the growth of anything, really. The growth of your financial assets, for example. If you invest something in the stocks, or if you invest something in the crypto space, you're not going to get rich magically. The growth of your financial resources takes time, which is what patience requires you to do, is to let time take care of the rest. You do your part, you plant the tree, you plant the seed, you plant the seed of life if you want to conceive a baby, and you just let time do its thing. In the case of a human baby, it takes 9 months, the gestation period, and there's a gestation period for everything. Some fruits require like years of growth from the minute you plant the tree, the fruit tree. Some require a year, some require 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And it's the same thing with like an investment, a financial investment. You know, you're letting your financial assets grow. You might put it in, and let's say you put in $10,000 and your goal is to get $100,000. Well, if you put it in stocks, there's a certain gestation period. If you put it in crypto space, there's a certain gestation period, but there will be a period where you have to wait for the growth of your financial assets. And then the same thing applies to the growth of your your maturity, let's call it. How about that? Your maturity as a human being. That also requires time. I'm talking now about psychological, emotional, spiritual maturity, right? Let's say you've finished growing as from a baby to an adult, and now there is patience required for your emotional, spiritual, and psychological growth and evolution. And when you realize that that is an inescapable part of life, evolution and growth take time. And when you realize it's inescapable, because if you want it, here's the funny thing. Talk about thoughts manifest matter instantly. If you had all your powers as God activated, which is possible, you'd be able to do that, and you will no longer need to wait. You could just think of a piece of apple and it manifests right in front of you. The funny thing about that is it requires an insane amount of time to cultivate the meditative powers necessary for you to activate all these innate powers within you. So you've got yogis who dedicate their entire existence to the path of meditation. And what happens when you do become that is, at some point, usually, you'll begin to unlock some cities, some powers, such as telekinesis, the power of instant manifestation, teleportation, etc. But the funny thing about that is it requires you so much patience to be able to get to that level. Okay? So patience is a necessary and inescapable virtue if you want to live in a space of contentment in this life. Accepting that things at this current stage of the Earth's evolution do take time. Growth and evolution take time. And once you accept that and you're like, oh, it's the year 2021 in the Georgian calendar, and Earth is in the age of Pisces, and this is the way it is. It's third density moving into fourth density, but not yet. And the way it happens here is that things take time. Now when you realize that's inescapable, then you say, now that's why I've got to cultivate patience. Not because somebody told you it's a good thing, or because you heard it, or because Lao Tzu said it. It's because you realize that's the way it is right now. And if you don't cultivate patience, you're going to struggle in this life. You're going to suffer in this life. So understanding the why makes the how easier, makes the process easier. I think Nietzsche said, he who has a why can bear with any how. So if you know the why to why you ought to be patient, then the how of it, the cultivation of it, becomes easier, right? You're like, oh, that's why I gotta be patient, because I will suffer otherwise. I will struggle because this is the way it is right now. And that applies to anything, Again, it applies to, the path of meditation. If you're gonna become a meditator, a yogi, and in a dedication, a life dedicated to that path, you're gonna require a ton of patience. And you might be unlocking these powers later on, after the patience pays off, where you can actually begin to manifest things instantly. However, to get there, you're gonna require an insane amount of patience. Alright? So be patient. Be patient, that's all I'm gonna say. Be patient. Do the work in whichever path of life you're on, whether it's spiritual work, whether it's psychological, emotional, whether it's, you want to put an investment somewhere, and do your research. Make sure you're investing your money in a good project, and then put the money there, and then just hodl, just wait, be patient, and this really applies to everything, really, right? It really applies to everything. If you want to attract a partner, your ideal partner, become that partner first. Be patient with the process, and The universe will eventually match you with that partner when you become that partner, when you become those qualities you want in your partner. So yeah, I hope this helps you guys. I have paid some heavy price in life for being impatient, as I'm sure all of you have. And yeah, just be patient. Realize that that's an inescapable part of life right now. And I would like to extend my gratitude to our Patreons for your continuous support. Thank you very much. I love you guys. If you want to support us with $11 a month, that's what it takes to support on Patreon. Just $11 a month, guys. That's like what, $130 a year or something. You can do so down below, and as a token of gratitude, you will be added to our mastermind Telegram group, where we discuss a wide variety of topics. So if you're interested, down below is the link for Patreon. Also, if you're interested to donate any amount of money, $1 to $1,000,000 to $10,000,000, hey, look, I'm not gonna limit you here on your donation. I have a link for one-time donations for PayPal, through PayPal. So the link is in the description, and I also do video consultations one-on-one if you're interested to book a call. Links are all in the description. I love you guys, and until next time, may the force be with you.